I'm waiting to go live. Hi, everyone. It's Plastic EP here on the buzz. Let me say a big hello to Robin B. How are you today, Robin?
I'm doing well, and I'm doing better because Mickey Dolenz turned around. If you watch the segment we did a little while ago, he wasn't facing me, but you know, now Plastic sent him to me, and he's paying attention. So that's good.
Fantastic. Right here on the buzz. Right, with us today, we've got two fantastic guests. We're only talking Beach Boys. Let me sort this all out for you. Now, we have David Beard, who's for the last 30 years have been doing the official Endless Summer quarterly magazine. If you've got a copy of that somewhere there, David, you can show it. If you haven't, they can look it up.
Well, I came up with my own.
Yeah, grab it. David Coston. Yeah. Fantastic rock photographer. The man's been on the show before. There's the magazine. Look at that. Endless Summer. Isn't that great, Robin?
That's fantastic. 30 years. What got you started with doing that, David?
Oh, just love of the music. I was fortunate back in 1993 to see the Beach Boys. I had already seen them years earlier. Different events. Really, my first concert, I believe, was in June of '83, seeing them. I think that's correct. I'd seen Jan and Dean by that time. But the Beach Boys played those local soccer stadium in downtown Charlotte. And I went with my church group. And I knew all about who they were. And I was telling everybody, you know, in my youth group with me, oh, that's so-and-so, that's so-and-so. And I was pointing everybody out, and I was telling all the songs. And it's my youth minister, in fact, who got me deeper into their catalog. And my way of paying him back, because he actually appears in the new music video. I put him in it. His name is Paul Martin. So he's a wonderful guy, and he's responsible for me going down the rabbit hole and never returning.
Talk a little bit about, so you were writing this magazine for about 30 years. And I mean, I know there's a lot in between there that we certainly can talk about, but more recently, you've been working on an interesting project. Do you want to tell everybody about that?
Absolutely. It's great for Feeding America. What I did was I was working on the Sunflower edition of Endless Summer Quarterly this time last year, roughly. Mm-hmm. And I approached Carney Wilson's husband, Ram Bonfiglio, about re-recording, I should say, Add Some Music to Your Day from the group Sunflower album. And what's unique about that album, among other things, it's an incredible group album, but what's really unique about the cover is it has the parents and their children sitting with them on the cover. And all the children, and I'm told by Matt Jardine that Jonah Wilson does actually sing, but he's just not a performer. And I would love to hear his voice. But all the kids on that album cover are singers. And, you know, Christian and Haley, Christian tours with Mike's band. Haley actually sang on Mike's Reason for the Season 2018 holiday album, Bring a Torch. Lovely, lovely voice. And so I know Christian's voice. I knew Haley's voice. And Haley's never been a part of anything in the Beach Boys family before. You know, she was on her dad's album, but she was never a part of the California Saga group back in 2012. So I thought, how cool would it be to kind of bring them all together? And then I was actually talking with Jonah Wilson when this all started a year ago. And I said, what do you think about the idea of bringing in the other siblings? Because we all know that Wendy sings. I knew that Justin sang. So that was kind of the foundation and the idea and the genesis of bringing this together. And when I approached everyone to do it, I had not even settled on a charity. They were all just on board right away. So that was really encouraging and kind of cool.
It's great timing because especially right now, there are many people who are hungry. So it's a wonderful charity that you chose. And certainly people are a little bit less busy, or at least they were this past year due to the pandemic. So I think you had impeccable timing with that. And it was a great idea. And the two of you, so Daniel and David, you know one another. Daniel, can you talk about little bit about what you do and how you know one another?
Yeah, I've kind of been a writer all my life. I was a filmmaker all through high school and college. And around 1996, photography said, well, you really should consider this. And really the first big show I photographed was the show where I met David, which was at Farm Aid in 1996. It was the first stadium concert. It was the Beach
Columbia,
Boys. It was, yeah. Amazing day. And by the end of that day, I was like, I have no idea what I'm doing, but I'm really enjoying it. Obviously, photography chose me.
I say that every day.
Daniel, I've got a few photos here. Just take me through them, please.
Oh, this is David with Mike and Bruce in 2015. In Tennessee.
The program that I designed.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's an amazing program, honestly. Now, next one.
Well, I don't think Daniel took this picture. This was Tara, Mike's road gal. She took that one for me.
Okay.
That was taken in early 2017, and I'm holding the VIP hardcover coffee table book that I put together with Mike and his wife Jacqueline. That's available now it was only initially available through VIP ticket sales, but now it's available on Amazon.
Amazing photo too.
Yeah, she did a great job with it. I actually do have photos in that program, by the way. And this, of course, is David with the maestro, Brian Wilson. I believe this is 2013 in Atlanta.
Yes.
And that's
same show.
With the other David Marks.
I've got David's book. He's fantastic. He's was there from the early days. Now go through these photos, Daniel.
Well, this is from the 2012 show. This was in Raleigh, and the venue was being very stringent about I could only photograph the first 3 songs, and I had to take my gear back to my car. Well, the second set comes on. It's like Dave and I have 7th row center, and we're both like, I'm like, if I don't bring my gear back here, I'm going to regret it the rest of my life. So I said that I had an emergency, ran to my car, and put the camera on my sock on one side and the lenses on the other sock, and stared at the assistants at the front so they never actually would look down and see that these things were bulging from my pants and my socks. I had scuff marks on my ankles because I'd walked a good distance, then back to our seats and got those photos. And
Daniel, what's this one?
I think that's near the end of the show. That's near the end of the show. They brought Brian up front to play bass. And I remember David turned to me and said, "Get your camera." I was like, "Oh yeah, dude, I'm already on this." So it was like,
so what I'm saying is for advice for young photographers, make sure you wear clothes that have got a few pockets and make sure you wear deep socks. Is that right?
Or loose socks, at least.
Yes.
Loose socks.
Yes.
Anyway.
Even though it was summer, I'm not one for short socks, and that was to my benefit. And if you remember the movie Shawshank Redemption, they says nobody ever looks at a man's shoes. That line was running through my head, and also I just made eye contact with everybody so they'd never look down at my shoes, and they didn't.
That was a pretty good tactic that you used. That's amazing. I can only imagine standing behind you with those socks, you know.
It's a good thing.
I tend to look down, so I'm kind of wondering. I might have seen that from behind you or something. That's pretty amazing.
I was very determined. Sometimes, and David can speak to this, the Beach Boys do inspire these things, and he and I, the love of the music, the love of the musicians making this music, and it was like, this is a moment. I don't know how often we will see this moment again. Document it.
So do you do this regularly now, Daniel?
Yeah.
Are you doing rock photography? Can you talk about some other photos that you're particularly proud of?
Yes, I got to work with Johnny Cash in 2003. I actually photographed his last public appearances, the only ones he did after June Carter Cash passed away. So now the Cash and Carter families both use those pictures. I've worked with the Monkees. I've worked 2 records with Chad and Jeremy. A lot of good people along Merle Haggard, kind of across the board. Everybody from that to Glenn Miller Orchestra and all people, but a lot of good people. There's a lot of, as David can speak to as well, including himself. There's a lot of good people in this business, and you find them, and you find the people who are making this good music. And if you present yourself well, and hopefully I did, and you can do good work, they'll bring you in. So that's kind of been, the accidental career is now 26 years going, even in the middle of all this craziness. So it's been, and I have to say, it's a real joy and as someone myself who's been overseeing records in the last couple of years for a couple of different artists, a couple of different bands, it's wonderful to see what David has done with this song and now this record, which he actually has put out on Omnivore Recordings, which is a wonderful label run by my friend and our friend Cheryl.
And I want to talk a little bit more about that, but it's interesting, Daniel, because I wonder, you mentioned the Monkees, and I was assistant to Peter Tork for several years, so I wondered if you had done some photography on the 2011 tours.
Not on the 2011 tour. That was the only one I missed. I actually had a photo pass to the first show in Atlanta, and I got called back to Charlotte to work for one of the museums. But if you remember, originally they had booked a fall tour, and I was already booked to shoot it in Durham, and then the fall tour got canceled.
Okay. I was just wondering if we had crossed paths, and I just didn't know it.
I did have lunch with him and Mickey and Andrew Sandoval in Nashville, that first duo show that they did in 2015. I first photographed the Monkees on the 2012 tour. I actually took the train up to near Philadelphia to the Keswick Theater and saw them on that tour. And that was wonderful. Every experience, including, I was there for the 50th anniversary show in LA at their invitation at the Pantages. And it was, from working with Peter, it was just so much great things came from those people, and the music, inspires all of us, much like the Beach Boys. I always say that, the thing that brings us all together, all four of us, is that we love this music, and and that's what keeps us going through the weird times that we're in, and the soon to be better times. So working with the Monkees has been great. I've gotten to be good friends with Andrew Sandoval, and I love what he does. I can't wait for his book that's coming out soon. And it's a joy, and I hope to see them one more time.
David, I just got to say, Charles Rosenay came on and wrote, David's Endless Summer Quarterly was for the Beach Boys, like My Good Day Sunshine for the Beatles. Now, David, I know that you do so much work for the Beach Boys. What was the other project that you were doing? Just fill me in now on the Beach Boy camp.
What do you mean, the Add Some Music project, or?
Yeah.
Well, as I was telling Robin, that started last year at this time, and then I was just slowly added everybody, little dribs and drabs. Everybody kind of came in and got involved, and and then I think they all thought it was done. And then I came back to them and said, hey, I'd really like to do a music video too. And since they're all, normally Mike and Bruce and Christian would not really be available like they were, because they'd be out on a regular Beach Boys tour if not had been for the pandemic. So that would have been probably a little trickier. But they all love that album. They all love Sunflower. And Bruce was just telling me earlier when I was talking to him on the phone, he's a fanboy too. So, we're all kind of connected. And to me, it's also the song itself. Add some music to your day. I love the message, and I love the third line of the first verse, which is the world could come together as one. I'm a big proponent of that message. In fact, I'm a big Monkees fan too, and Mike and Peter are probably my favorite Monkees, just because I like this material that they've written in and out of the Monkees. But like Peter's "I Believe You" as an example is a great recording, and "A Better World," same type of thing, is Add Some Music to Your Day. So it's that type of thing, and that's really what I kind of dial into when I'm trying to. That's what Endless Summer Quarterly is about, kind of giving back to the fans. If the guys are going to take their time and their energy to share with me, then I better be a proper conduit to give back to the world and to share, because we have subscribers worldwide, and we're still getting subscribers. And we're looking at trying to get it online, people are asking about that. We're looking at doing that this year. So there'll be subscription online like Rolling Stone does, something like that. And so hopefully that's in the cards sooner than later.
That's
I
actually
love
going to be a
both
great
of
thing,
you.
David. Now, let me tell you, you brought up the Monkees. Took me 52 years to get that signed by all four. And considering I lived in Australia, it's not bad. And I've owned that since I was 9 years old. And I won't say my age now. But let me tell you something else, David. Yesterday, I bought 3 Beach Boys CDs because I had to go somewhere, right? So I've got to tell you my favourite song. Everybody's got their favourite Beach Boys song.
Yeah.
But I just can't help playing Al Jardine's song, Help Me Rhonda. I just play it. Doesn't matter what song I go to. I just want to continuously hear that song. It's that great for me.
Well, there's no song, I can't think of a more, it's such a streamlined pop recording, but at the same time, I say that, I always think about the opening lyrics. Well, since she put me down, I've been out of tune in my head. And those lyrics are like, what? When you think about what's actually been saying, out of tune in my head, it makes sense, but those are such a, the Beach Boys are one of those groups that they have a number of songs that start with the word well.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm not bragging, babe, so don't put me down. It's well, and it's almost like it's a way for you to become a part of the recording with them. And
You're also going to say I misinterpret the lyrics. I didn't know that was what he actually said. Because to me, when I'm listening to it, if it's different words, it's like, well, she put me down and in my bed or whatever in my head. I'm hearing the word head. I'm not hearing out of tune. So, I mean, this is the great thing about songs. You make up the lyrics. You think you hear one thing and you're singing it another. And then down the track, like now, thank you for spoiling that. I realise now that you're singing something.
You spoiled it with the
you listen to it all the time. How could I have spoiled it?
We provide a wealth of information here on this show.
We're here to help.
Yeah.
There's also Google.
I love that the truth is spoiling it for you. That's crazy, Plastic. But I really like the idea of just uniting the world. I think that's part of the message, that we live by too, because Plastic started this show bringing people together and, just seeing how we're all really connected to one another. And I love how inspirational it is that the two of you followed a passion. You just sort of went for it, right? You love what you're doing and you go for it. And I think that's an inspirational message to people out there that if you love something, you have to go for it.
Mm-hmm.
I hope that's something. It's not, a lot of people don't have lives as good as I'm guessing here Daniel and I have, or have had opportunities that Daniel and I have had. So that's part of it. It's not always being the best at what you do. It's going through life eyes wide open and paying attention, and even if you get the opportunity that you think you deserve, you still have to be humble about it. Well, you don't have to be, but if you all of a sudden get, aren't I great? Then I think that's losing touch.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's losing touch of what being passionate. So being passionate, to me, I agree with you 100%. Passion is really, people used to say that, thank you for being so, and years ago when I would hear that, I would think, well, gosh, I'm just doing what I do. I'm not even thinking about being passionate, but it just comes. It just comes. Just as music can wash over us, what I do just, is just a part of the way that I'm wired.
I love that. I really think that success is a mixture of passion and being, and this almost sounds like an oxymoron, confidently humble, right? You're confident, and yet you have to have that sort of humility about you in order to truly be successful, and constantly keep reevaluating what you're doing to see what works, what doesn't work, and being willing to accept the advice from other people too.
Always. Yeah.
Definitely. So what's next for you guys?
Daniel?
Oh, I'll go ahead. Well, I can I'll let you know a little update on the Left Bank project I've been working on. Actually, we had to cut that back a bit, but have kind of condensed the planned Left Bank collection to one CD. The best of the Left Bank post 1968. I'm really excited about this. I'll hopefully have more information for you about that soon. I also been overseeing new recordings by The Circle. Red Rubber Ball, Turn Down Day. We got 6 songs recorded the first weekend in March 2020, right before the world shut down. 4 of those songs are now out by Universal, and we're going to start work on vocals for the remaining 2 songs, probably this week or next. And then we are looking, hopefully, start recording again in the fall once the guys are able to travel and play shows. So
I'm
that's
just going to say for the younger viewers, the Left Bank is a band, right? And their big hit was Walk Away Renee. Go on YouTube and see it because it's a fantastic song.
It is, and it's really one of my. I actually got to work with the 2011 to 2013 version of the band, and through them got to know their families, all of whom, sadly, all the original members are now passed away. But I've stayed in touch with their families, and that's been part of my job on that project, is to stay in touch with everybody and make sure that everybody's taken care of, and that their music lives on. They are literally one of my favorite bands. So the idea of being, like David, you get to be involved in the creation of something that shares the music of your favorite music with the world, hopefully. And that's very, very exciting. And then I've got a couple books done. Did a lot of writing last year, and those will both be out soon. And then we'll see where the spring and summer takes us. Hopefully, at some point, I can be David's driver again, and we can go see the Beach Boys again at some point.
We'll see.
David, I'm going to ask you, what's happening in the Beach Boy camp? Is there something coming on that someone should know? Is there something you can tell us that no one knows?
There's lots of stuff. There's always stuff. There's never not stuff. There's always stuff. Let's see. Well, I don't know if it's new to me. I mean, the news is there's obviously the Feel Flows box set that's coming in July, and I think myself and fans of that era, and hopefully this is the neat thing about their catalog. The Beach Boys, like the Monkees, is just one example. The Monkees did do different varieties of music, but that's because Mike was kind of a country guy, Peter was kind of a folk guy, etc. But with the Beach Boys kind of got into, they started as a pop, surf, cars, girls summer band. And then Brian kind of took control more or less in the studio while they toured. Then you had Pet Sounds, which was still pop music, but it's different kind of emotive quality to it that standard pop music didn't have. He incorporated jazz into Good Vibrations. And then suddenly you had Wild Honey, which was a rhythm and blues album. And then by the time you get to Sunflower, it's just kind of a new, I guess it was FM by that time in 1970. FM music had taken over, but their music wasn't categorically pop music at that time. It wasn't folk music. It was its own new kind of hybrid of their experiences, musical abilities coming to life and playing out in a recorded format. And then, of course, Al does folk. Mike's kind of more just a pop guy. Brian's just Brian. You can't define that guy, thank goodness. Music is him and he is music. And Dennis and Carl, rest their souls, each had their own type of. Carl was just kind of a rhythm and blues guy, kind of a Stevie Wonder trapped in pop type of sensibility. But really kind of gifted in his own way. And if anybody's watching this, and if they've never listened to the 2000 Beckley, Lamb, and Wilson album that Carl did with Robert Lamb and Jerry Beckley, Robert Lamb from Chicago, Jerry Beckley from America, I definitely seek it out. It's
a great record,
brother, great album, and it's just full of Chicago vibe and America vibe and Beach Boys vibe. It's really great.
Oh, I want to listen to that for sure. That sounds great.
David, I want to pick your brain for a minute, all right? Now, there's a reason, okay? I'm going to pick your brain. Now, look at this. Robin and I are going to be on a new radio station, 365, called Monkey Mania Radio. And we're going to have our own show Saturday and Sunday called Groovy Monkey Business with Plastic EP and Robin B. The question I want to ask you is, and you would know this.
Okay.
Now, if we have the Monkees and we have the Beach Boys, are there any stories or anything that interrelates between the bands that's common, or something, a story that you can tell us that brings the Beach Boys and the Monkees together anywhere?
Woo!
That's a tough one.
That is. There's Monkees Beatles stories. Here, this isn't really a story, but on the recent project I did, Mickey caught wind of it through Jeffrey Foskett and said he would participate on it. But then when I talked to the other Beach Boys, they thought their response was, well, we want to just keep it a family Beach Boys recording. But Mickey had said yes. I think he would have sounded really great on it had that been the direction that we went. Because, again, this time last year, around June, July, we were just kind of thinking about what other California musicians might fit the scope of what we're doing. Because, again, we called it California music, right? So the idea was who else might fit. And Jeffrey Foskett is a really good friend of Mickey's. And because Jeffrey worked with Mickey, I think King for a Day, was the
Yes.
Back in 2010, that was recorded at Gary Griffin's backyard studio. So Jeffrey was very involved in that album. And I think co-produced it or executive produced it or something like that. So that's Beach Boys Monkees connection.
Okay, can I go to a Beach Boys Monkey connection from the 60s? I want something that happened in the 60s. Anything?
They never really got to play together because the Beach Boys. Now the Beach Boys did bring a lot of acts on that did play. I don't know if the Monkees also tended when they toured, they didn't play with local openers. But I think there was a couple. I believe the Crying Shames in Chicago did some shows with the Monkees, and I think they did some shows with the Beach Boys as well. And if you haven't heard the Crying Shames before, I do recommend that band. That's an awesome band.
I would have paid good money to see Hendrix open for the Monkees.
I was just thinking about that too, David.
Yeah, we love Davey. We love Davey, and he gave him the bird.
I would have need to have been stoned, but I still would have wanted to see it.
The amazing thing about that is I remember Peter telling me that that the fans were so upset. They wanted to hear the Monkees that they were chanting about the Monkees and kind of booing Jimi Hendrix off the stage while the Monkees.
We want Davey. We want Davey. That's what it was.
Right. And then at the same time, then in '68, you have Mike Love, who by that, all the Beach Boys were practicing transcendental meditation. And Mike got the idea because Maharishi had gotten close to the Beatles. Hey, let me bring you on our tour and you can open up for us and we'll get people to meditate with you. And it was the same type of reaction to where they're like, boo, get him off. And he's trying to sit there and go, okay, let us all now meditate together. And it's not, and it's just too different of a dynamic to put together. Like with Jimi Hendrix was such an astonishing musician. And I love the fact that Jimmy thought Terry Kath of Chicago was the best guitar player he'd ever seen. Yeah. But he was just an astonishing guy. And the Monkees did get into that type of music, but it wasn't what was the mainstay of what the fans who were paying for tickets were coming to see. Because the music from Head was really good and kind of something. Neil Young and Stephen Stills played on the Head music, so you could have easily have brought in Hendrix, and he could have played on some of that stuff had that worked out in that relation in that way. But the Monkees, to me, are obviously here we are supposed to be talking about the Beach Boys. It's very easy for me to talk about the Monkees. I really.
Yeah, you're a big fan. That's what I want to hear too.
Talk about anything here, anything at all.
I will show you my Monkees stuff here. I'm gonna.
Please. A private Monkees tour. Have a look. This is what I love. Beach Boys, Monkey fan.
Yeah. Well, there's your connection, Plastic, right there. It's David. And
this man's 10 out of 10 in my book, same as David. David's the same too. Sorry, Daniel's the same.
Mm-hmm.
Daniel,
All
I'd
right,
like
let's
to
have a
see
look at
some
this
more of your
private tour.
photographs.
Only here on the Buzz. All right, go for it, David.
Well, and one of the things you talked about earlier was a favorite Beach Boys song. My favorite Beach Boys song is Cabanescence.
Ah, yeah.
And I recommend anyone who's a Beach Boy fan to look up the song. It's just, it could be, if it's from the Smile Sessions, it's 2 words, the word cabin, and then essence. If you have the 2020 album, which is readily available on iTunes or any streaming platform, and that's just 1 word, Cabanescence. And basically, it's a song written about the Old West, and it's basically in 3 parts. The building of the railroad, have you seen the Grand Coulee Dam, which is about the Chinese workers building the railroad.
Yeah. Okay. Mm-hmm.
And so it's very interesting. It's like listening to an American painting. It's like going to the Louvre in Paris and thinking the big thing is going to be the Mona Lisa, but then you look to your left and you see this painting on the wall, and you go over and you look at it, and no matter how many times you look at the painting, you discover something new. Mm-hmm. And the Beach Boys' Cabanescence song is like listening to an American full-color tapestry. Their voices are actually the steam coming out of the engine at one point in the song.
Oh, that's interesting.
Going, woo, woo. It's just cool. It's from Smile, from 1966, and there's so much going on in it, but it tells a story. It's about moving west and setting roots and planting and growing a farm, and in the meantime, your mom and pa, it's more like Mom and Pa Kettle sitting on the front porch watching the railroad be built, and then looking over to the other direction and seeing the Grand Coulee Dam being built. It's all in one song. And
great analogies, David. I love them.
Yeah.
Now, also got to say, now I'm going to break into 2 parts here, but you know David Marks, I've got his book, and I've also got Mike Love's book. So there's a Monkee fan, Beach Boys fan. Now I've got to say, to me, David Marks is it's an amazing story about David, and people can read about it. He was there at the start. I mean, isn't that like unbelievable? And he was the youngest, wasn't he?
Yeah, I think he was Carl's age. They were both taking guitar lessons from John Moss of the Walker Brothers.
See, that's amazing.
Yeah. I've been happy to see David be a part. It was wonderful to see him be a part of the 2012 tour. He is part of the story. And just because he wasn't able to be part of the story for so long doesn't mean that his story shouldn't be told. I mean, he's a big part of the sound of those first 5 albums. And it's been really nice to see David get the recognition for his part of the story over the last several years.
That was one of the reasons that we included him on this new re-recording of Add Some Music to Your Day. He plays guitar.
And also, I'm going to say now, you know, the great thing is, I've got to explain. The Monkees bring happiness, right? People that grow up with the Monkees, it makes them happy. And they remember that in these times and whatever. But I'm going to say something. The Beach Boys, like, they are the summer. Like, I'll give you an example. It must be amazing when you guys go to the tours, all right? Let's say they play near a beach or they play somewhere, and you see these beautiful young women in bikinis coming to enjoy the show. The Monkees don't get the beach. See, the Beach Boys are so smart. This is what I love about them. And you can laugh because I know about marketing, right? The Beach Boys were so smart that they were before the Beatles, right? They were huge, Robin, in the 60s, before the Beatles came. Now, they did the beach sound, but not only that, they figured that the people living in the Midwest, they haven't got beach. So they're smart. They start singing a song about cars. So they got all the markets, the young people, the beach, the girls, the cars. I mean, that's like real Americana right there. Am I right or not, David?
Pretty much. I mean, that, you know, you talk about that. When in 2012, during the 2012 tour, I was working on the Bamboo Trading Company album that I did with Matt Jardine, Randell Kirsch, Philip Bardowell, and I had gone out to California and ended up getting invited by Capitol to their release date. That's why God made the release date at the Tower. And the day before that was a Tuesday. So 2 days before that, I went to Irvine, California to watch the Beach Boys perform, and Dean showed up because Irvine's real close to Huntington Beach, so he drove over. So he came on for Barbara Ann, of course. And for those who are watching who don't, when I say of course, well, Dean sang on the original Party album version with the guys, so that's why I say of course. And it was just like, as you say, I was watching. I at first set I watched out in my seats where they assigned me the seats, but the second set, they took a break and they came out, and the first song they did was Add Some Music to Your Day around the piano together. And by that time, I had gone up these winding metal staircase rafters. So when the second set started, I was on the side of the stage over behind Bruce and Nick Walusko and them, looking down. And I thought to myself, well, I'm in California watching the Beach Boys perform to California girls and performing for a California audience. And there was kind of a bucket list, I guess, for lack of a better way of putting it, kind of a bucket list check mark, like, okay, been here, done that, and it was to what you're talking about, being in California, having the California group perform in California. There's something inherently warm about that you do get it wherever they go because they take the music with them. But there's something really kind of unique and special about a group so connected to that type of imagery and that state.
I would imagine so. Yeah, I would have loved to have seen that myself.
I would have loved to have gone to a concert. As I said, they're at the beach. I've seen a concert where they're playing on a stage near the beach, and there's like 10 million beautiful girls in bikinis. I mean, the Monkees don't get that. I'm sorry, they don't.
Well, they got some. There was Davey. I mean, Davey used to bring the girls out, right?
Yeah, but you got to understand, we're talking about two different things. We're actually talking about the beach, the water, the girls, the cars. Or, I mean,
the good-looking guy in the Beach Boys was Dennis Wilson. That's the one the girls all wanted to, just like Davey was in the Monkees, the girls all wanted to get their hands on Dennis. And, I mean, with the Beatles, it was all four of them. It didn't matter. But with the Beach Boys, it was Dennis. And if you ever go back, if you go on YouTube, maybe the Tammy Show, watch them do Dance, 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 and watch Dennis back there just losing his mind on the drums. And he's got the whole Beatle vibe going. He's shaking his hair around, and the girls are going nuts. So,
yeah, but I put him in the same category as an American Ringo at that level. That's where they were.
Not in talent. Ringo's far that in terms of, I'm talking about charisma,
the persona of the band, him being the drummer and Ringo being the drummer.
Yeah, Ringo's we could have a whole new show talking about just Ringo as a drummer. I'm telling you.
Ringo's amazing.
Ringo's amazing. He's one of the few. There's a few drummers out there who do what he does, but not as well as he does. He comes off the beat when he drums. Mickey usually when Mickey played drums or plays drums, he usually comes down on the side, off just off center of the beat. Ringo comes off the beat when he drums, and Dennis was a clubber. In other words, he came down on the beat. Mm-hmm. So if you listen to those things, that's what I think makes Ringo so unique. Is Ringo, if you listen to any Beatles song, he's coming.
Well, the one that stands out, which he reckons he did the best drumming on, was the song Rain. And that's an amazing song, the song Rain. The drumming on that is just amazing.
I love it all.
Yeah.
It's amazing how you are, Beach Boys, Monkees, Beatles. We're covering the whole genres today.
Well, guess who my favorite? I have to ask you. Guess who my favorite group are?
Okay, do I guess?
Yeah.
I would have guessed the Beach Boys.
Okay, to me it's a 50-50. It's between the Beatles and the Beach Boys, yes or no?
Yeah. No.
Is it any of those two?
We're wrong.
Is it the Monkees? Who is it?
It's the Moody Blues.
Oh. How can we bring Moody Blues into this conversation? Can we work them in with the Beach Boys and the Monkees? What are we going to do here,
We managed to get my top 5 groups into the conversation tonight, which has been really nice. I didn't expect this. We can come back tomorrow and do it again.
Is Nights in White Satin your favorite song?
No, which one?
No. Did they do Nights in White Satin?
They did. It's a beautiful song. No, my favorite.
And also let us say with the Moody Blues, Danny Lane, Go Now.
Yeah.
I love the early Moody's. I thought their whole thing with what the sound they created in that rhythm and blues group, that blues band, great stuff.
Where's the quarterly Moody Blues magazine then?
Yeah, that's right. Where's that? Dump the Beach Boys and move on to the Moody Blues.
No, don't dump them. Keep them. And we're just
And do
creating
both.
additional work for you.
Well,
I think the thing is, go ahead and purchase Endless Summer or find Endless Summer Quarterly online. And when you reach out to myself or David, ask David about the Moody Blues, and you can talk to me about the Left Bank. But 200 million groups in between. Yeah,
there's 200 million groups in between.
Yeah.
And
So
Frank Sinatra.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, nice. So
Yeah.
tell
I did
everybody
it
where they
my
can
way.
find. You're doing it your way. We know. Tell everybody where we can find your work, guys. So, David, let's start with you. Where can they access the magazine quarterly, for example?
Mm-hmm. Endless Summer Quarterly can be found online and ordered online at esquarterly.com. So it's esquarterly.com. You can always just go to your search, bar at the top and just type in Endless Summer Quarterly. It'll pop up. And when you get there, there's a number of tabs at the top. But if you 1 year subscription, it says magazine subscription. You click on that. That'll give you all regardless of where you are in the world, we'll get it to you. And then there's the ESQ store, which shows you all the back issues dating back to 1993. And then there's even some editions that we've dedicated to the Smile music, and a lot of fans are big fans of the Smile stuff. And that is its own button. It says Smile Shop. And if you click on the Smile Shop, it'll just take you to those special editions, some of which came with CDs. So complimentary CDs. But they're a little bit pricier because they have these exclusive collector item CDs with them. But we have a little bit of everything. I mean, there's just about everything in the Beach Boys catalog. If you like All Summer Long, we've got that issue. If you like Shutdown Volume 2, we've got that issue. If you like the concert album, we've got that issue. If you like the Christmas album, the Sunflower, whatever it is, And I even dedicated an edition to Daryl Dragon when he passed back in summer of 2019, because a lot of people don't know this. He went on to be captain in Tennille because he was the captain. But he and Tony actually, well, they met before they were in the Beach Boys together, but they met because he was in the Beach Boys, because she needed somebody to fill in, and she got wind of him. And then he asked her to join the Beach Boys with him. She did, and she toured with them for a while, and they broke off and went on to become captain in Tennille. But they were both actually touring members of the Beach Boys. And Daryl was a significant part of their sound. So if anybody watching and they listen to Sunflower, well, Daryl Dragon pretty much, and this is not an exaggeration, he told me this himself years ago, he pretty much produced half that album. And Daryl worked very closely with Dennis Wilson to the point that they even released a single overseas on the stateside label that was called Fallen in Love and Sound of Free, under the name of Rumbo, which was Daryl's recording studio name. It was off Dumbo, the Disney Dumbo character. Rumbo, I think, was the brother or the sister of I don't know what it was, but he came up with it. So, but that's that. So Daryl never wanted his name on anything. So he was perfectly fine assisting Dennis. Dennis was a creative soul to the point where Dennis really didn't know how to annotate music notes or anything like that. So when Dennis came up with a song idea, he would sit at the piano and play, and Daryl would have to take the notes. Because if Dennis got up and then came back later, and if that mood had left him, that idea had left him, he'd start writing something new. So that's why Daryl, as a collaborator with Dennis, was so integral and important and invaluable.
That's amazing. Also, what about your book? You've got a book. Is that right, David?
Well, there's 2 books that I'm working on.
Can I see the 2 books, please? And where they can buy them?
Do you mean the
ESQ? You're thinking of the programs that David designed in 2015, 2016.
I'm talking about a hardcover book. Have you written hardcover books?
Well, yeah. Well, there is the one in 2016, after I had completed work on the Good Vibrations 50th anniversary tour program, which we have pictures of Daniel's in the tour program. The tour program sold out. And we ended up having, and the 2015 program, I don't know if that sold out or not, but what happens to tour programs as a practice by the companies who make them is once the tour's over, they throw them away. So if the program if it doesn't sell out, they throw them away. And so with 2015, I don't know what they had left, but I have no idea what happened to those, if they had any left. The 2016 one sold out, and then we made the hardcover coffee table book, which is a time capsule, which is available on Amazon in the United States. I don't know if it's available on Amazon where you are or not, but it is Amazon.com. I hope it's available where you are. But it's a hardcover.
This is the one here, yeah?
That's the one, and it's a hardcover coffee table book. It's a time capsule. It starts basically with the release of Barbara Ann, which was December 65, and A Little Girl I Once Knew, which was November 65, I believe. But they charted and peaked in early 66. So that's why we included them. And that's kind of where it begins. It goes through the entire Pet Sounds album, has some really cool behind-the-scenes tour photos, quotes from all the guys, every member of the Beach Boys. And then at the end, it shows their 1966 tour dates. So it's just a great time capsule. It even comes with handwritten sheet lyrics of Wouldn't It Be Nice and Good Vibrations that slide into the pockets inside the front and inside the back covers. Handwritten by Mike Love and autographed by Mike. So it's a neat little, it's a really great collector's item for somebody who loves Pet Sounds and Good Vibrations. And so I got to put that together. And the airbrush lettering that you see on the front of that was done by none other than my good buddy Dean Torrance from Jan and Dean. So
very nice.
Very cool to work with him.
Excellent.
That's amazing. David, Daniel, give me your links before we wrap up the show.
Okay.
Where they can see your rock photography. He's got some great photos. Go on.
Thank you. You can always go to my main site and blog, which is danielcoston.com. Definitely go to ES Quarterly as well to see some photos, or the ES Quarterly Facebook page. You can find some photos there from our archives. Please check that out. There's danielcostonmusicphotos.com. That is my music archives, which are behind here. David, by the way, I found all my Beach Boys related photos, including the benefits that we did in 2008 and 2009. Yes. So all the archives are back together, so in case you need them. And please find me on Facebook. It's just Daniel Coston. And on Instagram, it's Daniel Coston Photos. And Twitter, #Daniel Coston.
Well, I just want to say you guys are so groovy coming on the show. We love talking Beach Boys. We love talking Monkees. We love talking Moody Blues. And I'll tell you what, we've got to have you again. Send us some news breaks to tell us here on The Buzz. And Robin, I'll let you wrap up the show if you've got nothing more to say. David?
Could I? Yes. Yeah. You asked about what I'm working on in the Beach Boys world and what do we got coming up. I'm working on a 50th anniversary edition for Surf's Up album. I'm working on an edition dedicated to the matriarch of the Wilson family, Audrey Wilson, which is turning into a fascinating exploration. It's going to be great. And I'm also working on a 75th birthday edition for the late Carl Wilson. That's what I'm working on for this year. And I also just wanted to let people know that I do have, it's been unbelievably over half a year since I posted an episode, but I got 3 episodes I'm working on right now of my music program. It's not really a podcast. A podcast is where people just talk. I have a music program on iTunes, Spotify, and Mixcloud and Podbean that's called Good Vibrations, a Beach Boys music program. All the guys endorse it. I include their liner endorsements on every show. So Brian, Mike, Al, Bruce, Dean, all the guys appear on it. Even got an episode with Stamos for those people who like that type of thing. Some people do. John
Stamos. We say hello. Also got to say hello to Billy Hinch, who's got a fantastic live show.
He does. That's a great show. That's a great show. Billy Hinch is great.
Live at Billy's place. Everybody watch it. I think it's Saturday night. I've had him on the show. That guy is rock and roll royalty. Seriously, no joke. Just love talking to him. We love you, Billy.
Yeah, I did a great interview with his sister Annie earlier today. So,
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Carl's first wife. And so, yeah, oh my gosh, she's got so many wonderful memories. So yes, so a lot of great things coming up with really kind of personal stories coming up this year, which is something I really enjoy doing. I really like giving the family, because as much as the fans enjoy reading this, I'm really kind of making collector books for the family themselves by doing something for Audrey, by doing some, you know what I mean? So that the family's going to get something out of this too, because I'm pulling together that type of thing. You know, so that's again being passionate about something, being true about something, and having the best intention in every moment of what you're doing is where it's at. But thanks for having us.
That's a
David, I
great
can't
message.
believe you find enough hours in the day. Now, Robin, I'll let you end the show.
It's definitely a great message. I can feel both of your enthusiasm and energy right through the screen. So that's a wonderful thing. You've given us so much to listen to and to explore on the internet. We will find both of you and do all of our listening so that we can continue this conversation another time. And certainly we will look for your future work. Great job with the Feeding the Children project. It's amazing to be able to connect with the world and help other people, because that really is what it's all about. So thank you both for your contributions to the world. And we look forward to seeing you all again on the Buzz when we have great people talking about interesting things and interconnecting in ways that you never thought were possible. So Monkees, Moody Blues, whatever it is, we'll connect the dots here on the Buzz. Thanks, everybody, and have a great night. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Just stay there for a minute. Thanks again.